What's up, family? I hope that you are well. I hope that you are blessed, and I hope that you are safe. This is the Damien Jones podcast. I'm your host, Reverend Damien Thaddeus Jones. Let me tell you, I have a really good conversation for you on today. Listen, we've been talking about and tackling the results of this 2024 election. It was polarizing. It was in some ways divisive. There's a lot of emotions behind it, but once the smoke is cleared, I think it's very important to have civil and respectful and informative conversations, so we can find out the why people voted in a certain way. What were the factors that played into their vote? And so we talked with some black men who we saw a huge increase of their support for Donald Trump in this last election. And so today, I think it's very important to talk to white women, right? I think it's a very important group. And I'm going to be honest with you. In some spaces, I think white women are unfairly demonized as it relates to how they voted in this particular election. Now, I think the numbers that I saw, exit polls said 52% of white women supported Donald Trump. Okay. So with me today is Liz Kane and also Tara. Both of these women are very involved in the electoral process. They are very engaged in their communities. They are very up to date on information, and they are informed voters. So, ladies, welcome to the conversation.
Hello.
Hello, thank
Absolutely,
you.
absolutely. Thank you so much. You see, they're in their cars, they're in their office, so we won't be on this conversation extremely long. But let me jump right into it here. So, Tara, I'll start with you. What you talk about? Tell us what were the kind of the important issues that were important to you in this election that kind of helped you make your decision. I don't know if it was economy. I don't know if it was reproductive health. I don't know it was this democracy thing, immigration.
Mhm.
I don't know. But just kind of start us off and just tell us what were those factors, and it could be something else. What did you put on the table as you weighed your decision as to who you chose in this election?
It was absolutely directly related to the economy. We've all felt it, and that's so obvious. And, it's just like anything else. When you're looking to hire someone for the role, you want to hire someone with experience and a strong track line and a pass for improving things economically. And, obviously he's done that. I also think that there is a lot of corrupt things happening with the left and trying to censor people and
Hmm.
trying to hide the truth. I've had some personal experiences with people in the DMV, left people that are just off their rocker.
Mm,
And
okay.
there's really no making sense of any of it anymore. So again, it's like they say it's the party of common sense, and that's kind of how I feel. I also feel like all the lines are blurred, and I feel like we're always accused of, being racist or, this and that and all these things that we're accused of on the other side. But the problem is that when there are no boundaries, everything is just open up for a reinterpretation, rediscussion. Like, I've
Hmm.
been really advocate against the books, third graders, second graders reading books about Jimmy and Bobby getting married. It's just weird. It's not appropriate because what's the next question? Sex, right? Like, what comes after that? So that's
Right,
the point,
right.
is that they have no boundaries, and I'm sick of it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Let me clarify. I didn't make this clear. Um, Tara and Liz are Trump supporters. Okay, I didn't make this clear in the start of the conversation, so just keep that in mind as we have this conversation. I want to go back to something you just mentioned there, and I agree. The lines are very blurred, to the point where there are no lines in a lot of spaces.
Mhm.
Also, I was telling somebody the other day, we really don't have real standards in our
Yeah.
institutions, in our discourse. oftentimes in our legislation, depending on what side it's coming from. So it's very dangerous. But you said that we are accused of racism oftentimes. So who's we?
Oh
And
my God.
what does that look like, and what does that feel like, Tara?
Well, one of the worst things that's ever happened to me, and there's been just random like things said here and there, especially being in Montgomery County, the teachers are brainwashing everybody. And that the white man is the enemy. That's what they are trying
Hmm.
to teach. That's what I feel.
Hmm.
Um and like this summer I was at a public pool, and one of my kids went up to another kid and called him Tarzan and said that, and he actually looked exactly like Tarzan. The lifeguard came up to me at the pool and asked us to leave and told us that we were a racist family and we weren't welcome there.
Wow, wow.
That's
How did
probably
that
the
make?
worst thing that's ever happened to me.
Yeah, did that make you? How did that make you feel?
I was furious because
Yeah,
I have a big,
yeah.
well, first of all, I have a big mouth. So I was really on the edge of wanting to just pop off. But
Right,
then
right.
you're that person. Then you're the crazy person. So
Hmm.
I was just, we were kicked out of a kid's birthday party, kicked out of their pool for the word Tarzan. Are you kidding me right now? How delusional are these people? How far of a reach is that to accuse
Hmm.
someone of racism over a cartoon, a Disney cartoon? Get a life.
Well,
Get a
yeah,
life.
yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. Stay right there, Liz. Jump in here. Thank you for being here. Same question to you. What were those important issues? I know Tara talked about economy, kind of some of those cultural things, books, and what kids are learning in the classroom. Kind of what were those key issues, important
Um,
issues for you?
yeah, I would definitely say economy, groceries.
Hmm.
I have, a family of four, so it's pretty expensive to go grocery shopping nowadays. The border was a big issue for
Hmm.
me.
Hmm.
I've noticed a big increase in crime in Northern Virginia just in the last 4 years personally. And then another thing that in with education is the critical race theory that was being taught specifically within Fairfax County.
Okay.
And I think that was a big reason that Governor Youngkin was able to turn Virginia, to a Republican governor again, was because so many people had an issue with that.
Hmm.
Like I said, I have two children. My oldest is biracial, my
Hmm.
youngest is white. So it's kind of hard when you have a lot of people that are mixed and biracial and you're teaching critical race theory, that white people are bad, and then you come home and your parents are white, or it's
Hmm.
just um a lot of the stuff with education, was a big issue. So I would say those
So
are my top three reasons that I'm a big Trump supporter.
yeah, so let's stay there for a moment. I think you both have talked about just this educational piece, right? And I think you both have kids. I have a 14-month old daughter. And so I guess when you get kids, you begin to look at the world a little differently. You get a little hyper aware of some things, right? And so I totally understand. Um, but as a parent, like, uh, does it alarm you, right? And I'm talking to you on this one, Liz. Does it alarm you that your kids spend what 8 hours a day at the school? They spend oftentimes most of their
Yeah.
time with their teacher. Uh, does it alarm you that it's possible that your kids can be learning something that can be very detrimental um, to their future?
Yes. It does concern me a lot. I think that they teach sex ed way too soon. I
Hmm.
don't think it
Hmm.
needs to be in fourth, fifth grade.
Hmm.
I mean, I know when I was in fourth grade, I didn't really know much about sex, and that was okay.
Hmm.
I'm not sure why kids need to know this at 9 years old, 10 years old. It's just way too young. I'm not saying don't teach it, but it definitely needs to be more middle school, high school focused. I think elementary school is just
Right.
way
Well,
too
I
young.
just think there's a time and place for everything,
Yes.
and you know, a child's mind can only handle certain levels of information at a certain time as their brain evolves, right?
And
And
then
so,
they're teaching kids that, in this sex ed, that you can be gender fluid.
right.
You can wake up one day and decide, oh, today I'm going to be a boy, but tomorrow I might be a girl again.
Hmm.
And that's just,
We have one in our street and on our bus
Hmm.
that
yeah.
decided at 6th grade that she was going to identify as a boy. She
But
goes
that's
in the boys'
because they're being
bathroom.
taught that.
Yeah, she
If
goes in the
they
boys'
weren't
bathroom.
exposed to this, it wouldn't be an issue.
Hmm.
Yep.
Hmm. Well,
They're telling these kids that it's okay, and it's not.
yeah. So let's stay here for a minute. So, yeah. So where do you guys land on this kind of uh kids being able to identify as the opposite sex at an early age, you know, and or able to change their sex? And then I think in some respects, I think it was in California where the schools were talking about not informing the parent
Hmm.
of things like that happen. Where do you guys land on that? And did that kind of play into your decision making in this election as well?
So
It's
I will
scary
say
as a
one
parent.
thing. Yeah. It's scary. I will say one thing. I know some kids that have decided to do that. And if you meet the parents, you will know exactly what's going on in that house. They are
Hmm.
weird. They are dying for attention. And the parents are usually cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And
Hmm.
then they're putting that on the kids. And that's the problem.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts, Liz?
I think it's a big issue that we're condoning and saying it's okay when really it needs to be addressed in another way.
Okay.
These kids probably have mental health issues that should be seen. I mean,
Hmm.
it's not normal to
Hmm.
think you're another gender.
Not at all.
I
So, all
mean,
right, let me
I know
let
that
me.
might sound insensitive, but it's just,
No, no, no.
we've gotten to the point where everybody's got to cater to these
Well,
crazies,
I
and
don't I don't know. I don't know if that's insensitive because just by judging by the data from the election, clearly now 76 million, as they continue to count, 76 million Americans said no to that. So
Yeah.
I don't think it's insensitive. I think that's the consensus and the pulse of America right now. Let's talk about leadership qualities for a minute here. Um, when we talk about leadership, oftentimes people would say, "I need strength. I need clear direction. I need clear communication. Right? I need eye contact. I need the ability to wade through adversity." Um, for me, I'm a Republican today because of Donald Trump. Period, point blank. I love the guy. Right now, there's some things I disagree with him on. Talks too much in some spaces, says some stuff that he
Hmm.
shouldn't in different spots. Kind of ticks me off there. But overall, as a leader, I love what he brings to the table. Right, and I think that's what America needs. Um, what are those leadership qualities? I'll come to you first, Tara. What are those leadership qualities that you see in Trump that help you gravitate toward him?
Yeah. So I wouldn't have trusted Kamala Harris to watch my pet hamster.
Okay.
So let's get real with that.
Okay.
So that above and all, like above and beyond everything, like I have never seen in any instance in a movie, any human being that I know get knocked down and treated so unfairly and rise up over and over and over
Over and
again.
over
And I was
again.
like,
Absolutely.
God, for this man at the age that he's at, he's getting his butt.
She's got a phone call. She's on a roll, and she got a phone call. Liz, you pick up same question. Kind of what are those qualities that you see in Trump that help
He's
you
just
vote for him?
resilient.
Hmm.
I mean, nothing knocks him down.
Hmm.
The court trials, all of the accusations against him from women to, business practices. He's resilient, and I think he can withstand a lot that the normal person couldn't. And I think that makes a really strong leader, is just his resilience. He doesn't have to be doing this. He's got plenty of money to live comfortable and, be with his beautiful family. So I think he genuinely cares and is a good guy.
Well, you know what? Yeah, you both mentioned resilience, and I think that's something that resonated with. I don't care who you are, your background, how much money you have, Republican, Democrat. When you see the things again that they threw at this man over and over and over again, they threw at him. You're talking about they censored him on all the social media platforms, right? Then the witch hunts began from a legal standpoint. 34 felonies, other things in different states, just coming up with all types of stuff. Then the assassination attempt, right? I believe once that happened, the election was over at that point, right? And everything else after that was just gravy on the rice. But they come thing after thing after thing, and he just keeps pushing. And I think, for me, I tell folks all the time, if you look at Donald Trump's story, just running for president from 2015 to today, I believe it's one of the more inspiring stories that we'll ever see in the history of America. Right? You take his name off of it and you just write the story, everybody will love it. They'll write movies about it.
Yeah.
But because it's his
greatest
name,
comeback.
Go ahead.
The greatest comeback in history.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's like when these sports movies or what have you. So, I mean, absolutely incredible. Tara, you patched out your back with us. You want to finish your thought about kind of those leadership qualities that you see in Trump?
Yeah, I mean, it was just, he surrounds some really good people, surround themselves with typically people better than them. You won't see that I don't see that as much as I would like to be honest, in corporate America and other situations. But that's what he's done, right? Like, he's got an arsenal of really great people around him that are good at this certain particular thing. None of them are a jack of all trades, which is also something I don't believe in. He's very, very, very smart. I've got to speak to him once. I've been to Mar-a-Lago.
Okay.
And that whole thing is it was just the coolest experience ever.
Absolutely. I'm jealous from that standpoint.
Me too.
Liz, yeah, I want to get to Mar-a-Lago at some point. Liz, let's talk about Kamala Harris for a moment here. I have my thoughts as I talked about leadership. In a nutshell, for me, it ain't about misogyny, because I voted for Hillary Clinton in 2016, right? When I was a Democrat. So I have no issue supporting a woman, a black woman, any woman. I would gladly vote for Condoleezza Rice if she were to run for president of the United States, what have you. So it isn't a woman thing. For me, I'm just looking at merit and the results that you've been able to produce in the positions that you've had. And when we talk about her as the vice president, I just haven't seen any robust results, number one. Number two, she doesn't seem to have a command of the issues in an authoritative and confident way, right? And we're talking about the leader of the free world. So this ain't child's play. So kind of what were those things, Liz, that for Kamala Harris that just turned you off, or you just said, no, I just can't even consider her as POTUS?
I mean, I would say when she told the Trump supporter, "You're at the wrong rally for saying Christ is king," and for her to publicly say that in front of millions of people watching, I mean, I think at that point I knew, like, God's not going to let her win. You denounce God in front of all millions of people, you can't lead America as a president. That, and just, where she stands as far as abortion into the third trimester. I'm a Christian, and I think a lot of her values just go against what I believe as a Christian.
Sure. Tara, your thoughts. What were those things about Kamala? I know you kind of mentioned some things you wouldn't let her watch your cat, but what were those things about her that you just like, no, she's not gonna cut it for me?
She came across so disingenuous and so phony, so not human, just like a total smug jerk on
Mm.
every single interview, time after time again. So either the people around her were terrible, right? Or they were hoping she would continue with her awful behavior. She was so unrelatable. And
Mm-hmm.
then the people, the pop culture people that she surrounded herself, my God, you just insulted our whole country by putting those people around you, like Megan the Stallion on the stage. What
Mm-hmm.
the hell? You made, like, you insulted all the young people's intelligence by doing that. It was disgusting.
Not
Oh my
presidential.
goodness.
Not,
What's that, Liz?
not presidential at all.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
there's a
No.
time and a place for that, but to me it's not, you think of a president as a little more classy than that.
Yeah, like
Absolutely.
what was that? What was that?
Yeah, very
If
very trashy.
how could she even say that that was even okay and allow that to go on? Like, something is wrong with that woman. When I saw that, I was like, they're cooked.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think it could be a combination of things, like, I've run many campaigns before, and so I'll tell you, I would never let that hit the stage. Like, we've got to have an internal conversation, and we've got to look at optics, and that, no, and because, matter of fact, that was her very first rally.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you got put in place behind the eight ball. You have a little bit over 100 days to try to stamp yourself and to try to create some level of name ID versus Trump's 30 years of name ID, and your first impression is Megan the Stallion. I knew then that the decision making within that campaign was not high quality at that point, right? And then we just continue to see it go downhill after that. I think for about 30 plus days, there was no policy on her website whatsoever. That was a huge red flag
Mm-hmm.
for many folks. We don't even know what you stand for. I mean, there were other things too, but let me ask this, because I saw in 2014 in the state of Texas, a lady named Wendy Davis ran for governor against Greg Abbott, and her top issue was abortion. And one of my mentors told me at that time, he's like, "Man, you can't run on abortion in Texas. That's not going to work." And I think Wendy ended up, I think she only got like 30% of the vote. She lost badly, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when you look at Kamala, pretty much her chief issue was reproductive health, abortion.
Yeah.
How did that resonate with you all?
Well, for me, yeah. I mean, I can say I was like, Jesus, how many abortions do you guys want?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what? Like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why are you so obsessed with this issue? It's up to the states. It's up to the taxpayer funding. If you want one, get in your car and drive and get one in another state. Forget it. Like, they were so obsessed with this abortion, they think their lives are over because they can't kill babies. That is so far from the truth, it's not even funny.
Mm-hmm. 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 Wow.
I think it's about the federal funding, because they want our taxpayer dollars to pay for their abortions, which, pay for your own abortion if you want to have one. It shouldn't have to come from taxpayer money. And as far as Roe versus Wade, there's more abortions now than when that was in place. So as far as people can't get abortions, that's just a lie. There's more happening now than there ever was.
I think that was a blunder on their part.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's an issue that you talk about, one of the issues, but I don't think that's an issue that you lead with, because essentially it doesn't affect every American, right? The economy affects every American. Particularly wide open borders affect every American. I just don't think that was an issue that resonated with every Americans. So yeah, as women, I was just curious as to like how did that issue kind of land with you all?
It was the
Go ahead.
only issue that you kept seeing on social media popping up. The way the media spun everything was abortion was always coming up at the top. So all these women, these white privileged women doing whatever it is that they're doing, that's what they kept hearing on the media. That's what they're hearing on TikTok. That's what they're hearing on Instagram. So that's what they voted for, because they're not paying attention to anything, because they cannot think for themselves.
Wow. Um, let's talk about the future for a minute here. As we speak, we're seeing Trump and his team nominate this person, that person, RFK, Matt Gaetz, John Homan, Marco Rubio, and others. Can't remember them all. Liz, I'll come to you first. What are you guys? I mean, we all voted for him. We're excited about it. We're happy that he's going to be in office. I'm excited about the next 4 years. Liz, what are you expecting from Trump's second term and his last term, and I believe will be a historic term? What are you expecting?
The main thing that I'm excited about is the Doge. Elon Musk and Vivek are going to go through and eliminate a lot of waste. And I think there's a lot of that in Washington.
Absolutely.
That, and obviously Kennedy's going to get the fluoride out of the water and get the, all of our chips are going to be healthy. It's funny. I went to Turks and Caicos last year and I bought a bag of Cheetos and I was eating it and I'm thinking, these taste so much different. And so I saved the bag and brought it back, and the ingredients are different. So I'm not sure why we can't have a higher quality of food. There's no reason that we should be putting these chemicals in our food. So that's really exciting.
Tara?
Yes, absolutely agree with the Doge. Also, there's a lot of corruption and bribery that goes on in politics. It goes on in really big companies where just the person with more money winds up getting their way. That's likely what's happening now. There's going to be a lot of transparency that's going to be exposed, and there is a lot of waste. If you've ever met anyone that's a government employee, they literally will go to work in their pajamas. They do absolutely nothing all day. This is not a secret. There are probably people listening to this that are like, you know what? They get these pensions, they get this. I am married to a teacher. He will get a pension. He deserves it. But there are so many government employees that openly admit they do absolutely nothing and they could care less. So that's going to stop.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're talking to Liz and talking to Tara, two brilliant, involved, engaged voters, white women who voted for Donald J. Trump proudly. They have various reasons and issues that were important to them as to why they voted. They have families. The economy is very important to them as well. But here's my last question to you, ladies. And I just want you to be frank about this. Don't hold back. Just tell me what you really think. When you hear, because you're a Trump voter or because you're a white person, that people automatically label you as a racist, how does that make you feel, and kind of how do you feel about that? Whoever wants to take that.
I'll go first. I've been told that before. I've heard it mostly online from strangers.
Sure.
Always, yeah.
Most people don't say it to your face, but online people will accuse you of being a racist, and it's just not the case. I believe in one race, the human race. God made everybody just with different tans, and you can't always worry about other people's opinions of you.
Sure. Okay, thank you for that, Tara.
Yeah, the racism thing is tough. I mean, I live in an area that's extremely multicultural. I was just at my son's school. I would say the population is 60% Hispanic. the rest African American. So it's definitely like after the election, my son came home and said, the kids at the lunch table told me that they drove by our house on the school bus and we had a Trump flag on our fence, and that he asked why people call us racist. So that just goes to tell you, they're hearing what their parents are saying, and then
Wow.
it's just ingrained in them when they're little kids, and then we all are victims of this. When your parents believe a thing or say a thing to you, it sticks with you. I grew up with
Mhm.
a crunchy granola RFK mom before that was even a thing. We were never allowed to have junk food. She would go, McDonald's is for fat people, right? Like she would say that to us. And it stuck with me my whole life.
Right.
These same people that are being coached by the liberal media are coaching their children up to do the same thing. So
Mhm.
when people call me racist, it depends on the day of the week or the mood that I'm in, but usually I just blow it off. I'm like, you have no idea who you're dealing with or what you're talking about.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank y'all so much. I
Yeah.
really appreciate it. Any last thoughts you want to share? Anything that I forgot to ask you that you guys wanted to share? Any thoughts?
No.
I'm good.
Wonderful. But yeah, so you heard it right here directly. And I know sometimes, especially in these online spaces, conversations gets very diluted. People begin to talk over one another, the shouting, the insulting, and you can't really have good quality civil discussion to really understand one another. And I think a lot of times we don't listen to understand and comprehend. We're listening to respond, and I think we ought to have less of that. And so I appreciate you all making the time on this Friday evening to chat with me about this and share your honest thoughts about this. I want you to know that your thoughts are valued, they're respected, and it's really going to add a lot to the overall political discourse as we move forward in this country. So thank you so much, ladies. I wish you guys would have put your handles up here so folks could follow you or what have you. But I
Oh,
think I'll pop it down in the comments.
The last
okay.
thing, oh yeah, Tyson. Tyson has to win tonight. He has to win.
Oh,
That's who I'm rooting for too.
He has to.
I don't have a pick on it. I just want to see a good fight. I just
Yeah.
want to see a good fight. Anyway, thank you so much, ladies. Folks, thank you for joining us. Until next time, this is the Damien Jones Podcast.